A single bullet, fired on a narrow road in Bain-le-Blau, it killed Michael Collins and altered the course of Irish history. But the deeper truth is more unsettling. No one can say for certain who fired the shot, or even why Collins chose to face it. So before the war and before the politics, Michael Collins was just a boy growing up in West Cork. And within a generation, he would help to reshape Ireland. He was a man who loved his people, and they loved him in return. Michael Collins moved easily among them, not distant and not untouchable, but present, familiar, trusted. He worked relentlessly for Ireland, believing its future could be built by its own people. And yet, in the end, it was an Irish bullet that killed him. To understand the circumstances that led to Collins's assassination, we must first go back and look at the Irish War of Independence.
I don't make any bones about killing. Anyone that comes into my house or my country and tries to take over by force, I'm going to kill him, and I'll use any and every means to do it.
You see, that was the logic of the war, and behind it, Michael Collins was reshaping how it was fought. As Director of Intelligence, he built a clandestine network inside British administration. He had informants, couriers, double agents. Information became his weapon.
They give you the lowdown on them and where they were, and you just went and rubbed them out.
From it came a campaign of targeted operations, selective, disciplined, precise. The pressure on the British administration was constant, not from pitched battles or a conventional army, but from something much harder to contain. This was a war with no front line. Across Ireland, the conflict moved in shadows. A quiet street in Dublin could turn deadly in seconds. A routine patrol one moment, an ambush the next. The IRA understood the reality early. They could not defeat the British Empire by force, and they remembered 1916.
Oblak Nahairn, the provisional government of the Irish Republic.
So they changed the rules. Mobility over strength, intelligence over numbers, disappearance over confrontation. And at the centre of this new kind of war was Michael Collins. Collins didn't just fight the British system, he penetrated it. Inside Dublin Castle, at the heart of British administration, he built a network of informants so effective that secrets rarely stayed secret. In Dublin, it became a conflict of intelligence and assassination. Men identified as British agents were no longer safe, not in uniform, not in plainclothes, not even in their own homes. And then, on a single morning, the war escalated beyond anything seen before. Bloody Sunday. Coordinated killings across the city. British intelligence offers targeted with precision. By midday, Dublin was already on edge. By afternoon, it would be something else entirely. Because the response was coming, and it would not be measured, it would be indiscriminate. Reprisals followed, swift, violent, and often blind. Homes burned, civilians shot, fear spread faster than control. The conflict had changed. This was no longer just a struggle for independence. It was a fight over who held power and who could impose their will on the Irish people. And by the end of 1920, one truth was becoming impossible to ignore. The British Empire was losing its grip. But victory did not come on the battlefield. It came at the table. In late 1921, negotiations began in London. On one side, you had the British government, and on the other, you had a delegation led by Michael Collins and Arthur Griffith. The problem with this is that they were not negotiating as equals. They were negotiating under threat. Renewed war, immediate and total. And so in December 1921, the Anglo-Irish Treaty was signed. Ireland would become a free state, not a full republic. It would remain within the British Empire and would have to swear an oath of allegiance to the British Crown. For some, this was freedom hard won, but for others, this was a betrayal of everything that they had ever fought for. And in that divide, the next war was already beginning. The war for independence was won, but in Ireland, victory came at a cost. In 1921, the Anglo-Irish Treaty ended the fight with Britain and ignited something far more dangerous: division, not between nations, but between men who had fought side by side. The country split over a single question: was this freedom or compromise? And in that divide, Ireland began to fracture. Within months, it would descend into civil war. At the centre of it all was Michael Collins, the architect of independence, now trying to hold it all together. But in August 1922, on a quiet road at Bale-na-Blaw, the war took a final, irreversible turn, because what happened there was never as simple as it seemed.